Om Asmad Gurubhyo Namaha. Om Namah Paramarishibhyo Namah Paramarishibhyah. Om Namah Paramarishibhyo Namah Paramarishibhyah. नीडातुङ्गस्तनगिरितटी सुप्तमुद्बोध्य कृष्णम् पारार्ध्यं स्वं श्रुतिशतशिरसिद्धमध्यापयन्ती स्वोच्छिष्ठायां सृजनिगणितं याबलात्कृत्य भुङ्क्ते गोदा तस्यै नम इदमिदं भूय एवास्तु भूयः. So today we will be discussing the 18th Pasuram, undu madakaliRRan. உந்து மதகளித்தன் ஓடாத தோள்வழியன் நந்தகோபாலன் மருமகளே நப்பின்னாய் கந்தம் கமழுக்குழலி கடைத்திரவாய் வந்து எங்கும் கோழி அடைத்தனகான் மாதவிப் பந்தல் மேல் பல்காள் குயிலினங்கள் கூவினகான் பந்தார் விரலி உன் மைத்துனன் பேர் பாடா சென் தாமரை கையால் சீரார் வளையொழிப்பா வந்து திரவாய் மழுந்தேலோர் எம்பாவாய். This is the Pasuram for today. Adiyan Nappinai ji, please go.
Sure, Swami, Adiyan Srimad Jai உந்து madakaliRRan ஓடாத தோள்வலியன் நந்த கோபாலன் மருமகளே நப்பின்னாய் கந்தம் கமழும் குழலி கடை திரவாய் வந்தெங்கும் கோழி அழைத்தனகால் மாதவே பந்தல் மேல் பல்காள் குயிலினங்கள் கூவினகாள் பந்தார் விரலி மைத்துனன் பேர் பாட செந்தாமரை கையால் சீராய் வளை வந்து திரவாய் மகிழ்ந்தேலோர் ஆண்டாள் திருவடிகளே சரணம்.
Andal Thiruppavai. Jai Sriman Narayana. So we will continue with this Pasuram for today. Undu madakaliRRan ஓடாத தோள்வழியன். So in this particular Pasuram, we are being taught about another important step. We may take shelter of Satpurushas. By taking shelter of Satpurushas, we may cultivate good qualities. And with that little bit of Sattvic association, we may want to take shelter of an Acharya, get a Samashrayanam done, obtain a mantra from the Acharya, and by doing mantra anusandhanam, we may get rid of ahankara. But there is one more step we need to take before we are able to attain Paramatma. That step is the grace of Maha Lakshmi should fall on us. That is a very important step. And today's Pasuram is all about that. We have seen that in the previous Pasuram, the Gopikas have already taken shelter of Nandagopa, they have taken shelter of Balarama, they have taken shelter of Yashoda, but Krishna still did not wake up. So there is one more step that is pending, which is taking shelter of Maha Lakshmi. Whenever Maha Lakshmi, whenever Paramatma takes an avatara, Maha Lakshmi also appears in some form, no matter which avatara that is. Because she is the mediator between jiva and Paramatma. Paramatma is, although the Lord of everyone, the jiva in samsara is someone who has committed a lot of sins, and he has been in samsara since time immemorial. For a long time, we have been here, and as a result, we have accumulated heaps and heaps of sins that we cannot even count. For Paramatma to immediately eliminate all of that, it is a very big challenge for him, because we are bound by karma. He is also bound by that karma, right? In other words, based on our past karmas, there is a shastra that he has written, right? The shastra is that you have to follow certain things. If you do them, then you will gain certain results. If you don't do them, then you will gain certain contradictory results. Right? This is how the Shastra has been written. We are bound by Shastra and Karma, and he is also bound by the same rules. Now, the only thing that can break that is the grace of Mahalakshmi. Right? In other words, his grace is the only thing that can break us free from these sins. His grace personified is who Mahalakshmi is. She is the mediator between Jiva and Paramatma. She is called Purushakara. What does Purushakara mean? Someone who makes the other person become a Purusha is called Purushakara. What does it mean to make the other person become a Purusha? Purusha means Puru Sanoti iti Purushaha. One who can give in excess is called Purusha. That means Paramatma, who is not at all inclined to give, looking at the Jiva, Lakshmi Devi, she stands in between and she makes him give profusely, give his grace profusely to the Jiva and eliminate all the sins of the Jiva. So therefore she is called Shri. What is the meaning of Shri? The Lakshmi Tantra gives us different meanings of the word Shri. Shriyate cha akhilay nityam. She is someone who is resorted to by all beings. Shrayate cha paramapadam. She is someone who resorts to the Supreme Person on our behalf. That means she is someone whom we can resort to. We can take shelter of mother always, right? When we, father is angry at us and father scolds us, it is the mother who tries to pacify the father and make sure that the relationship between the child and the father is settled, right? So she is the mother to whom we can all resort to. And she resorts to the father so that, father's anger is actually brought down. Shrunoti, she is someone who hears our prayers. Shravayati, she is someone who makes the Lord hear them. The Lord by himself, he does not even want to hear us because we are someone who have ran away from him for so many, millions of births, we ran away from him. So now, if he sees our face, he may be angry with us. So he may not even be willing to listen to us. So she has to be there in between. She has to intercede and make him hear us, what we are trying to pray to him. So she is Shravayati. She is the one who hears always. Shrunati Nikhilan Doshan. And she makes Paramatma remove all the sins of the jivas. Srinati Gunair Jagat. She is the one who nourishes the jivas in samsara with proper virtues. In a way, she prepares the jivas in a condition where Paramatma can accept them. So she is someone who does all these things. So in any avatara, when approaching Paramatma, one has to always approach through Mahalakshmi, who is just a personification of his grace. Now, when we look at Krishna Avatara, at this particular time, Neela Devi, she was the only one there. She is also called Nappinai Pirati. So she is the only one who is present at this time. So Neela Devi was, because by that time, Rukmini's marriage was not something that happened yet. Satyabhama wasn't married to Krishna yet. Jambavati was not married to Krishna yet. So the only person who was married to Krishna was Nappinai Pirati, right? So Neela Devi. So therefore, through her, the Gopikas are trying to approach Krishna when he was still in Gokula, right? Now, is this something, there is also pramanam for this kind of approaching the Lord through Mahalakshmi at multiple places, right? In the previous avatars. If we look at Rama Avatara, at multiple places we see that only through Sita Devi, or the grace of Sita Devi falls first before Rama takes an action on that particular jiva. For instance, Lakshmana, when he tried to, he knew that he couldn't convince Rama, right? So when Rama came out, he was hearing outside, he was there. So Rama, when he was about to go to the forest, he was speaking to Sita Devi inside. Lakshmana was just waiting outside. And Sita Devi managed to convince Ramachandra that she was going to come with him. But Lakshmana also had the same desire. He wanted to come to the Lord. But then he knew that Rama would decline it. So as soon as Rama and Sita came out, it is told in Valmiki Ramayana, Sa Bhratus Charano Gadham Nipidya Raghunandana Sitam Uvacha Atiyashaha Raghavam Cha Mahavrataha. That means it is told that as soon as Sita and Rama came out of the room, what did Lakshmana do? Sa Bhratus Charano Gadham Nipidya. Right? Lakshmana was someone who very firmly caught hold of the feet of Rama. That's what he did. Okay, so he caught hold of the feet of Rama, but Sita Muvacha. But whatever he spoke, he didn't speak to Rama, he spoke to Sita. And Raghavam Cha, Valmiki says. He spoke to Sita and then Rama also. That means Sita is the first person he was intending that speech to. Because if Sita is convinced that Lakshmana should come, Rama, she will make Rama get convinced. She is the only one who has that ability to convince Rama. Right? So therefore, the Mahavrata, so the vow that Lakshmana took was, he wanted to, no. So Mahavrata, so Raghava, he took this one of great vow, right? He's the one of this great vow. He wanted to go to the forest. But here, Lakshmana was someone who Gadham Nipidya, someone who very firmly caught hold of the feet of Ramachandra. But then, in other words, Sriman Narayana Charano Sharanam Prapadye, right? It is Narayana's feet that he caught on to, right? But he petitioned to Sita Devi. Similarly, even when, Kakasura, right? What Kakasura was trying to do was, he was trying to hurt Sita Devi, and Rama became very furious, and he, took a blade of grass and, he did Abhimantrana of Brahmastra on it, and he just released it over Kakasura. And that Kakasura, he flew to every world and nobody could shelter him. Then again, Vadharham api Kakutstaha Kripaya Paryapalayat, right? In other words, it is only through Kripa that he became saved. Kripa here refers to Lakshmi Devi, says Padma Purana, right? That therefore Vadharham api, although this particular Kakasura was someone who was, worth killing in every sense, Kripaya Paryapalayat. He became saved because of Kripa or Lakshmi Devi, right? Similarly, when Hanuman, he could not find Sita Devi after searching for her for a long time, he prays Namostu Ramaya Salakshmanaya Devyai Chatasyai Janakatmajayai. In this way he prays, that he prays to Rama, Lakshmana, and he prays to Sita Devi also, that, oh lady, only if you can show your grace, you can yourself become visible, just like you became visible to Janaka, right? Devyai Tasyai Janakatmajayai. He says, very interesting the way he prays to Sita Devi, that you are the daughter of Janaka. Why is he addressing her as the daughter of Janaka there? Because only, Janaka could not find Sita on her. Sita decided to get manifest to Janaka, so therefore she appeared there in that particular area, right, when he was trying to till the land. Similarly, you yourself become compassionate on me and finally give me sakshatkaram of you. You please show yourself to me. In this way, he was praying, Hanuma. And then he was able to find Sita Devi, right, in the Ashokavana. Similarly, when Vibhishana's wife and daughter were constantly serving Sita Devi, then her grace fell on Vibhishana. Then, Rama accepted Vibhishana. Similarly, even Sugriva, at a time when he lost his wife, he lost his followers, he lost his kingdom and everything, Sugriva received her grace in the form of her ornaments, right? They dropped from the sky, and Sugriva was someone who took those ornaments and he preserved them. So because he took the action of preserving them, the grace of Maha Lakshmi fell on her. When the grace of fell on him, when Maha Lakshmi's grace fell on him, then he became protected by Rama. So in this way, therefore, our Purvacharyas, they have always prayed to Sita Devi first. Therefore, even in the Sharanagati Gadyam, first Ramanujacharya says, Akhila Jagan Mataram, Asman Mataram, Asaranya Sharanyam, Ananya Sharanaha, Sharanamaham Prapadye. First, he prays to, the mother, the supreme mother, Sita Devi, Maha Lakshmi. And then he begins, prayer to the Supreme Lord Narayana, even in Sharanagati Gadyam. He's showing the sequence in which we have to perform that Sharanagati. First, take shelter of Maha Lakshmi, obtain her grace, and then we will be protected by Rama. In other words, Sita and Rama are inseparable. One should not try to separate them, right? When we try to separate them artificially, what happened to Surpanakha, who wanted only Rama but not Sita? And what happened to Ravana, who wanted only Sita but not Rama? We all know the outcomes. So one should always desire, like Vibhishana, he wanted both Sita and Rama, right? He wanted them to become the rulers. So this is how one should be, that we want to seek both Rama and Sita together. We want to pray to them. So in this particular Pasuram, this specific point is highlighted a lot. So now we will look at what this Pasuram is. Undu madakaliRRan, odada tholvaliyan, Nandagopalan marumagale nappinnai. So we are being told, Nandagopan is being compared to an elephant's strength, or someone who is possessing very intoxicated elephants. So Madam Undu Kalittan, that means like a very strong elephant. He's strong like an elephant that is driven by intoxication, Madam, right? Producing water from its eyes, right? So this elephant, when they are very intoxicated, water comes out from their eyes. So we know that that is the time you should not approach an elephant, because the elephant's strength at that time is such that it is capable of uprooting an entire village. An elephant which is mad elephant, right? Intoxicated elephant, when water is coming out from its eyes, we know that that elephant is capable of destroying an entire village. So at such time, one should not approach such elephants. So here we are being told that Nandagopan had the strength of an elephant, which is, he is very strong like an elephant driven by intoxication, right? Now, Odada Tholvaliyan, and he had very strong shoulders, such kind of shoulders by which he wouldn't run away from a battlefield. Okay? Such a Nandagopalan, Marumagale Nappinnai, right? Nappinai Pirati, who is the daughter-in-law of such Nandagopar. That is what they are saying. Okay? Then, Gandham Kamadam Kudale Kadaithiravai. The fragrance from her hair is spreading all over. Kudale means the hairs, fragrance coming from her hairs is spreading all over. So they are saying, Kadaithiravai, please open the door. They are saying, Vandu engum kodi adaitanagan. Then they are saying, Vandu means coming, engum spreading in all the directions, kodi cocks, adaitanagan, they are crowing. So spreading in all the directions, the cocks have come and they are trying to crow. So they are, in other words, they are trying to indicate that it is already morning now. Okay, the cocks are spreading in all the directions and they are crowing in the morning. Right? Madhavi Pandal Mel Palgal, Kuilinangal, Kuvinagan. Madhavi Pandal Mel means there is a certain pandal, right? It's a structure. Madhavi Pandal means this creeper, right? Palkal means multiple times. Kuil Inangal, groups of cuckoos. Kuvinagan, they are cooing, right? Groups of cuckoos are cooing multiple times on the structure of that particular tree. Pandar, another sign of morning, right? They are indicating that this is another sign of morning. Pandar Virali un Maithunan Perpada. Then they are saying Pandar Virali. That means you are someone who is having the fingers which are holding the ball. That means apparently Krishna and Nappinai Pirati, they were playing a ball game and then she has won the ball. Now it's in her hands. So apparently she has won the play last night. Okay. On Maithunan Perpada. Now we are trying to sing the names of your cousin, right? Sen Tamarai Kayal, Chirar Vadayolippa, Vandathiravai, Madindelor Empavai. Sen Tamarai Kayal means with your hands which are reddish like a lotus. Chirar Vadayolippa, that means as your bangles, they are making jingling sounds. Vandu, you please come walking. Madindu Thiravai, you please open the door happily. In a happy mood, you please open the door. Right? This is our vratam. So in other words, they are trying to say that, Nandagopalan's daughter-in-law, right? What is the nature of such Nandagopalan? He has very strong shoulders and he has the power of, a mad elephant, right? That is capable of destroying an entire village. So such a, powerful person's daughter-in-law, right? You please recognize that it is already morning now. If you see, look at the, the cocks, they are already crowing. And then if you look at the groups of cuckoos, they have already gathered and they are trying to sing beautiful songs. So it's already morning. Now we have already seen. So through the keyhole, they have noticed that she has the ball in her hands. So they are saying that we have seen that you have the ball. Please come and open the door, right? Please let us inside, right? And then they are trying to say that your hands, we have noticed that they are red like lotuses. And with your, please come walking all the way to the door And as you walk, we want to hear that walking sound. We also want to hear, as you are trying to open the door, we want to hear the jingling of your bangles, right? You please come and open the door. This is the external meaning of the Pasuram. Now we will try to understand, the deeper perspective of this Pasuram. Now, undu madakaliRRan, it has three meanings. One, who is intoxicated, who has intoxicated elephants, that is one meaning. The other meaning is he who can fight intoxicated elephants. The third meaning is he who can fight like intoxicated elephants. He who has intoxicated elephants, he who can fight intoxicated elephants, he can fight like intoxicated elephants, right? How do we know Nandagopan, did he ever fight like that? Did he have elephants at all, right? How do we know whether he has that fight? Same inference logic, right? Previously, they inferred that Krishna was the person who actually provided Ambaram, Tannir, Shorum, right? Therefore, they inferred that Nandagopan has them. Similarly, here also, Krishna was the one who killed Kuvalaya Pida. Kuvalaya Pida was an intoxicated elephant. It was a mad elephant, right? It was actually trying to destroy everything, step over everybody. It was trying to step over Krishna and crush him, right? That's what Kuvalaya Pida was trying to do. Right? Krishna fought that Kuvalaya Pida. So if the son is capable of doing, father should also have that power. This was their inference logic. Another reason is also provided. When Vasudeva, he was a king. Vasudeva and Devaki, they were king and queen, right? So Vasudeva had certain elephants, right? So it's a symbol of wealth. Vasudeva had certain elephants. But when he was imprisoned, just like Nandagopan was taking care of Vasudeva's wives, Rohini and so on, similarly, he was also taking care of some of his elephants. So along with his cows and his fields and so on, the elephants also used to be there. This is another meaning, right? And another understanding is also provided that Nandagopan himself was very powerful, in fact. Why was he powerful? Because he was so powerful, he could maintain a kingdom right next to Kamsa's, right? Without any fear. His kingdom was right next to Kamsa's. Kamsa never even tried to fight him head on, right? Whatever he did, in a very clandestine way, in a very secretive way, he tried to attack all the time, right? And what does this indicate? This indicates that who is Nandagopan? Nandagopan means he is the Acharya, right? So Acharya is someone who should have that kind of, power of the shoulders to protect the Sishyas, right? Here the Gopikas are meditating on that quality of Nandagopan. In other words, the Sishyas who approach an Acharya should understand that Acharya is so powerful, right? What is the Kamsa's nature? Kamsa represents the Rajasic mind, right? Ahankara, mind filled with Ahankara, which is Rajasic in nature. It always tries to attack in a very clandestine way. Few moments previously, we find that we are very sattvic and we are trying to think about very sattvic things and so on. Suddenly, the mind becomes Rajasic. It wants to enjoy. It wants to go somewhere. It wants to eat something, right? Suddenly, the mind slips into Tamoguna. So this is how, in a very secretive way, we don't even realize that that desire is, arising in our heart. That is how the mind attacks when it is filled with Ahankar, right? So this is how Kamsa also. Secretively, he keeps sending all, demons one after another. So an Acharya is someone who should have the ability to protect the Sishya or whoever has taken shelter of him from such clandestine behaviors. In other words, Nandagopan was someone who was capable of protecting Krishna from Kamsa. But Krishna protected himself. That's a different story. But Nandagopan had that strength. Therefore, he was unafraid of staying right next to Kamsa, right? And here, if we just meditate on some of these pasurams, right? Nandagopan is addressed as Nayakan. Nayakanayan என்ற நந்தகோபனுடைய கோயில் காப்பானே, right? In Pasuram 16, he was addressed as Nayakan, leader. In Pasuram 17, he was addressed as a charitable person who is capable of giving Ambaram, Tannir, Shorum, and all these things. So he was addressed as someone who is very charitable. Then, in this Pasuram, we are being told that Nandagopan has strength, right? He is someone who is having a lot of strength. Then in Pasuram 21, we'll be told that he is someone who, has a lot of wealth. All these indicate Acharya Lakshanas, right? What are the qualities of an Acharya? An Acharya is also a Nayakan. He is a leader. He is someone who has the ability to lead the jiva to Paramatma from samsara, right? Therefore, an Acharya is a leader. And an Acharya is also someone who is very charitable, right? Whatever things we desire from an Acharya gives, right? The mantra that the Acharya gives has the ability to give whatever things we desire, right? Yesterday we learned that whether those desires are things in this world or in Swarga or in Paramapadam or Kaivalyam Bhagavantancha, right? This mantra is something that is capable of providing everything to us. Similarly, an Acharya Kataksham is like that, right? Once Acharya Kataksham falls on a Shishya, right, the material well-being is also taken care of, right? And spiritual well-being is also taken care of. So everything is taken care of. So he is charitable, right? Similarly, an Acharya has the strength to remove all the obstacles of the Shishya, such as Kama, Krodha, and so on, that the Rajasic mind provides. It keeps producing all those things, right? In this way, an Acharya also has the wealth of Shastric knowledge, right? In this way, an Acharya Lakshana, the Lakshanas of an Acharya are being indicated through the qualities of Nandagopan here. Now, another meaning is provided for who the elephant is. So one meaning is Nandagopan has elephants. Nandagopan has mad elephants. That means mad elephant means a very powerful elephant. Okay? That is how we should understand. So very powerful elephant. So what is the very powerful elephant that Nandagopan has? It is Krishna himself. Why? What is the similarity between an elephant and Krishna? What is the similarity between an elephant and Krishna? There are so many similarities. What are they? Although an elephant is very, very powerful, if the Mawat, he tries to tie the elephant to a pillar, it remains tied as if it is powerless. Yes? Similarly, although Krishna is very, very powerful, he also remained tied up to the gopis as if he was powerless. When Yashoda was trying to tie him up to the, grinding stone, he got tied up as if he is very powerless. And several devotees, several Bhagavatas sang about this particular feature of Krishna. He who is the controller of the entire universe got controlled and tied up by this Yashoda, right? This is a great wonder, right? So just like an elephant gets tied up, such a powerful elephant, any moment it can kick that Mawat, right? But such a powerful elephant, if the Mawat wants to tie that elephant up, it gets tied up. It remains as if it is very subservient to that Mawat. This is one feature. Another interesting thing is when an elephant tries to, Mawat tries to tie the elephant itself hands over the rope so that the Mawat can tie. Similarly, what is the rope with which Krishna gets tied? It is the rope of bhakti. He himself gives that bhakti to the devotee by which he himself gets tied up. Right. This is another meaning. Then, what does an elephant do? If someone wants to climb over an elephant, what does an elephant do? An elephant, it steps down and it bends on its knees so that the person can step over it. That means the elephant itself is becoming the means for someone to climb over the elephant. Paramatma also, he hands over his feet to us and he himself becomes the means for someone who wants to attain him. This is another similarity between elephant and Krishna. Then another thing is an elephant listens to the Mawat and lets anybody who the Mawat allows climb over it. Elephant has no preference for who should climb and who shouldn't climb, right? Whatever the Mawat says, the Mawat is a person who takes the money. He says, okay, this person can climb over you. Then elephant immediately steps down, becomes the means and makes the person climb over it. Similarly, whomever the Acharya recommends, to that person, Paramatma, he himself becomes the means and he makes the person attain him. So in this way, again, there is a similarity, right? Another thing is there too. An elephant is something called Kunjara Shaucham. Kunjara Shaucham means the cleanliness of an elephant. What is the cleanliness of an elephant? An elephant, it is said, has a very nice bath in a river. It baths for a long time. It bathes in a river. Okay? Very nice. It gets very clean. As soon as it comes out, it takes a lot of sand and it sprays all over its body and dirties itself immediately. Right? Similarly, Krishna also has this nature. After being glorified very nicely by Vedic hymns and all that, he becomes accessible even to very ordinary prayers. Right? In this way, there is a lot of similarity between an elephant and Krishna. So he is that elephant who got tied up to Nandagopan. So they are trying to address, Nandagopan, who is the possessor of Krishna. Right? And Nandagopan, who is very powerful to drive away, all the enemies that Kamsa sends. Kamsa, who is the Ahankara that has captured the mind, it keeps sending so many enemies like kama, krodha, avidya, karma, all these things. These are all the things to which you have the power to destroy them, to eliminate them, to remove them from us. In this way, they are trying to pray to Nandagopan first. Now, Nandagopalan Marumagale. Now they are trying to address Nappinai Pirati. How are they trying to address her? Mahalakshmi. They are trying to address her using her identity with her father-in-law's family. Why? Because in the Vedic culture, a married woman, she takes pride in being addressed in connection with her father-in-law's family, because that is how her identity changes. Before marriage, she takes pride in her own family. After marriage, she takes pride in being associated with the father-in-law's family, that dynasty. Even Sita Devi, when introducing herself to Hanuman in Ashokavana, she says, Dusha Dasaradhasyaham. That she says that I am the daughter-in-law of Snusha Dasaradhasyaham, that I am the daughter-in-law of Dasaradha, she says first. And then in the second line, she says, Duhita Janakasyaham, that I am also the daughter of Janaka. Right? First, she identified herself as the daughter-in-law of Dasaradha. Right? So this is how they are aware of this principle. So they are also addressing her as the daughter-in-law of Nandagopan. Nandagopalan Marumagale. Another meaning was also told here. The deeper meaning is samsara is the place where we are all born, right? Once we get married to Paramatma, then we will attain the in-laws place. What is that in-laws place? Paramapadam or Sri Vaikuntham. After marriage to Perumal, that is the in-laws place where we go. After going there, the Vedam says, right? Nopajanam smaran idam shariram, that we will not try to remember this particular body or our previous birth in samsara, right? We never try to remember our identity with samsara again. We try to identify ourselves only with the Paramapadam, right? Mukta Jivas, they don't try to remember their birth associated with samsara again. So that is also something that is being indicated here. So these are all the meanings of undu madakaliRRan, odada tolvaliyan, Nandagopalan, marumagale nappinnai. Next, Gandham Kamalum Kodali Kadai Thiruppavai. Now they are saying, your fragrance is spreading all over. The fragrance of your hair is spreading all over. Please come and open the door. What is the fragrance that has taken over her? Paramatma himself is called Sarva Gandhaha. Upanishad says that he is all fragrances personified. So, by saying that she has fragrances coming from her body, they are indicating that she is with her. They are talking about the inseparable relationship of Maha Lakshmi with Paramatma, right? Her existence is such that if he is the sun, she is the shine. If he is the flower, she is the fragrance, right? This is the relationship between Maha Lakshmi and Paramatma, right? They both say this in Ramayana, right? That Ananya Raghavenaham Bhaskarena Prabhayatha, right? Says Sita Devi. Just like Prabha is for Bhaskara, I am not, separable from Ramachandra. Ananya Raghavenaham. From Raghava, I am not separate. Just like Bhaskarena Prabhayatha. Just like Prabha or the shine is for Bhaskara or the sun. Similarly, Ramachandra also says the same sentence in a different context. Ananyahi Maya Sita Bhaskarena Prabhayatha, he says. But Sita is inseparable from me, just like, Prabha is inseparable from Bhaskara, right? The shine cannot be separated from Bhaskara. Similarly, Sita Devi is someone who can never be separated from Paramatma. By addressing that her hair is filled with fragrances, they are saying that she is someone inseparable from Paramatma, who is all fragrances personified, right? This is what they are saying. Now, they are also indicating one important feature here. The nature of Mahalakshmi is that Kadai Thiruppavai, please open the door. What is this door? Like we discussed previously, Paramatma is also bound. Jiva is bound by karma. Paramatma is also bound by Shastra. That Shastra has certain rules based on whatever the Jiva, to the extent Jiva follows, Paramatma has to award or punish the Jiva accordingly. The only way to break free from this is his grace personified has to fall on the Jiva. his grace personified is Maha Lakshmi. So her anugraham should fall on the jiva. When her anugraham falls on the jiva, Paramatma rules out all the sins, right, of the jiva. So how does she do it? Poets very beautifully, the poets actually put this. With her beauty, she tries to control Paramatma. And with her motherly love, she tries to protect the jiva. And she makes sure that all the sins of the jiva are erased from Paramatma's mind, and Paramatma is able to accept the jiva. So this is what she does. So by indicating that with the fragrances coming out from her long hairs, she is trying to, be with Paramatma. They are indicating that with her beauty, she is mesmerizing Paramatma and not letting Paramatma see the sins of the jiva. So now what are the doors that need to be opened? These doors are two things. One is the inability of Paramatma. One is the karma of the jiva, and the other thing is inability of Paramatma, to clear off from this Shastra, the principles laid down in the Shastra. Right? Shastra has certain rules that if you do this, this has to be given. If you make this sin, this punishment has to come. This is how Shastra is written. He has to be bound by that, right? So she is the one who has to open these doors. The jiva cannot break free from karma. Paramatma also cannot break free from the rules of the Shastra. Only if she intercedes in between, then these doors can be opened and the jiva can attain Paramatma who is inside, right? She has to basically break these two things free. So that is what is being indicated here. So using her beauty, using her ability to mesmerize Paramatma, she is someone who shelters the jiva, and she is someone who subdues Paramatma and makes him accept the jiva. So that is the nature of Mahalakshmi. Vandu engum kodi adaittanagan. Now they are talking about certain, symptoms of mourning. They are trying to describe two things here. What are they? First thing is the crowing of the cocks in the morning. That is what they are trying to indicate. The second thing is the cooing of the cuckoos. This is the other thing that they are indicating here. These two they are indicating as signs that morning has come. What is the morning? Morning is the sattvic state of mind that has to develop for us to even take shelter of Mahalakshmi, right? Even for us to think that I have to take shelter of Mahalakshmi, mind should attain a certain level of sattvic state. So that means before that, we have to expose ourselves to the teachings of acharyas, right? The teachings of the Shastra, the teachings of the Alvars, right? Those are the things that are being indicated by these two, right? After the cocks crow and the cuckoos coo, then slowly, we see that morning is actually brightening and brightening, right? That means things that happen right before Sattvaguna develops, that sattvic state of mind develops for us to take shelter of Paramatma, are these two things. So what are these cocks? What is the nature of a cock? It lives in the middle of all dirt. And even if there are valuable things like gems and so on accidentally there, it doesn't accept any of those things. It only picks the grains that is food for the cock. That is all what the cock picks from that, right? The hens and cocks, what do? They only pick those grains that are food for them. They will not pick anything else from a mixture of dirt, right? It is indicating acharyas who are grihasthas. They have to live in the middle of samsara, unlike sannyasis who have given up this samsaric life. So sannyasis don't have to deal with all kinds of sensual enjoyments as much as a grihastha has to deal with them, right? So acharya purushas who are grihasthas, they have to deal with all of these things on a day-to-day basis, just like a hen or a cock has to deal with a lot of dirt on a day-to-day basis, right? But it only accepts whatever is food for it. Similarly, these acharyas who are grihasthas, they only accept Paramatma from all these things, right? While dealing with all these things, they only eat the food for them, which is Bhagavat Tattvam. That is the only thing they try to search for in all this samsara, right? In other words, while dealing with all these objects, they try to connect all these objects to Bhagavat Tattvam, right? A sannyasi need not have to connect these things to Bhagavat Tattvam because he has given up all these things. But for a grihastha, it is important to see every activity that the grihastha is performing on a day-to-day basis in connection to Paramatma, right? It is even more important for a grihastha to see them, right? Because he has to deal with all these things on a day-to-day basis. So this is something that these particular cocks are capable of doing. Special feature of the cocks. So the crowing of the cocks is indicating the preachings that are coming from realized grahastha acharyas, right? When sattva guna is on the ascendant, then acharyas preach to others to make them experience Bhagavat Anubhavam, right? So in other words, once the morning has come, that is the time when, these, cocks actually crow. Similarly, once sattva guna is on the ascendant, that's when acharyas try to preach. Because in rajoguna and tamoguna, acharyas cannot preach because nothing enters the brain. Only when sattva guna rises, then whatever we preach makes sense, right? So acharyas can actually preach only in that state of mind. So that is what is being indicated by this. Next, we are being told that kuilinangal kuvinagan, groups and groups of cuckoos are cooing. Who are these cuckoos? What is the nature of a cuckoo? A cuckoo is something that is maintained by others, right? Cuckoo is called parabhrita. Parabhrita means something that is maintained by something else. A cuckoo never hatches its own eggs. What does a cuckoo do? It places its eggs in the nest of a crow. The crow hatches them, and then finally the bird comes out. The crow doesn't even realize that that is different. Only after the cuckoo coos differently compared to the crows, then the crows realizes this is a different bird. Externally, they look the same. They're also black. These are also black, right? So this is an interesting feature of cuckoo. Similarly, who are these cuckoos? A cuckoo is none other than an alvar, right? Alvars who have Bhagavat Anubhavam, they are also parabhrutas. Why? There is a certain egg that is surrounding us. What is that egg? Avidya, which is in the form of Maya. It is surrounding all of us, right? Avidya, karma vasanas, these are actually surrounding all of us. Just like a cuckoo does not make any attempt to break free the egg on its own, alvars are those who do not make any attempt to break free of this on their own. They are someone who are completely parabhrita. They are maintained by Paramatma, right? Paramatma himself removes those things. So alvars and acharyas, we see one difference, right? Acharyas, we see that generally there is some anushtanam they do and so on. But alvars are those, we don't see any anushtanam in the acharyas, in the alvars' lives prior to that, right? In most alvars' lives, we see that suddenly they are born with that devotion. They are born, it's something that naturally comes to them, right? In the lives of alvars, right? So Nammalvar and all these alvars, right? This is how Nammalvar, right from the time he was born, he had that devotion, right? We don't know what previous attempts he has made to get that devotion, but all we know is that by Paramatma's grace, Paramatma chooses certain jivas and he blesses them this way. He himself removes that egg for them, right from their birth. That's why he's called Shatakopan. As soon as he was born, that Vayu called Shata is something that he kicked away, right? So he's called Shatagopan. So this is how these alvars are, right? And there is also another interesting feature about this cuckoo. What is it? The cuckoo, it eats the tender shoots of these trees and it sings very beautiful songs. Similarly, what are the tender shoots and what is the juice of the trees? The tree is the Veda. Within the Veda, Raso Vai Saha says the Veda, right? Paramatma is the Rasa who is present. So the juice in the tree is Paramatma himself. Now, when you bite these tender shoots, what are the tender shoots of the tree? They are the Upanishads of the Veda. Within that Upanishads, they experience this Rasa Tattva from the Upanishads, and that experience of Upanishads is what Alvars actually sing, right? In the form of beautiful prabandhams, beautiful kavyams, beautiful kirtanas, right? This is how these alvars and, very great devotees like Tyagaraja and all these people who have given us so many prabandhams, right? Kavyams and prabandhams and kirtanas, they are people who Paramatma has chosen and he has blessed them already. With no special effort of their own, they are already born like that. So they are the cuckoos, actually. Now, just like there is no external difference between a cuckoo and a crow, similarly, externally, we cannot identify such alvars. They are just like other ordinary human beings. Only when they start to sing, that's when we will recognize that these people are filled with deep devotion towards Paramatma. In other words, once they start showing their nature, that's when we will realize that this person is different. Externally, they look the same, right? In this way, an alvar and a samsari, although they may look the same, only their outpour will make us understand who they truly are. So in this way, beautifully these gopis try to bring out, a certain similarity between, Alvars and the cuckoos. There is another interesting thing. What is it? Cuckoos, when do they sing? Vasantakale samprapte kaka kakaha pika pikaha is a famous saying in Sanskrit. That only when Vasantakala comes, when the springtime comes, that's when a kaka means a crow can be known as a crow, and a pika can be identified as a pika. That means a cuckoo can be identified as a cuckoo, right? Because until then they all look the same. In Vasantakala is when spring comes, that's when they become very excited and they start singing. The spring is nothing but the onset of Bhagavad Bhakti in them. They reach a certain parakashta, a certain stage where the devotion, they cannot contain the devotion they are having, and it comes out in the form of an experience, a song from them, right? They experience Paramatma to such an extent that it just pours out from them without being able to control it. That is the spring that they are experiencing. So therefore, although it is currently Hemanta Rutu, it is not Vasanta Rutu, right? That's when the month of Margali, right, that comes. Dhanurmasa happens in Hemanta Rutu, right? This is not Vasanta Rutu. But even in this, they are talking about a certain cuckoo that is singing. In other words, they are referring to Alvars here, right? And then the Madhavi Pandal that they are talking about is a support framework. Who is this Madhavi? Madhavi is nothing but Lakshmi Devi. Madhava means the husband of Ma, who is Lakshmi. So Madhavi is again a reference to her. She is Madhavi, right? Madhavi Pandal means the support framework for this Madhavi is Paramatma himself. So on this support framework, groups and groups of Alvars resting on Lakshmi Narayana Tattva, they give out these Divya Suktis. That is what they are trying to indicate, right? So those Suktis are also being heard by us. Then Pandar Virli un Maitunan Per Pada. Now they are trying to say that you are holding a certain ball in your hands. They are saying. And what is the ball that, Lakshmi Devi is actually holding? What is this ball? At the beginning of creation, for the sake of her happiness, for giving happiness to her, Paramatma does this creation. So there is a Prakriti, which is the ball. She tries to, understand that the ball is something that is deflated to begin with. Now the ball is inflated with air. That's when we start playing with the ball, right? Similarly, Paramatma inflates the ball of Prakriti with the jivas. And then samsara happens. That's when they try to play. That's the play. Samsara is described as a play of Maha Lakshmi and Narayan, right? And play in the sense, it is all, people trying to take shelter of him, and she tries to grace all of them, right? That is the nature of Lakshmi Narayana Tattva. It is a beautiful Tattva, right? Paramatma's grace is nothing but Lakshmi Devi, right? That grace is what has to happen in everybody's life for them to attain anything material or anything spiritual, right? Only when his grace happens, that's when anybody can attain anything. So in other words, it's a play between him and her, right? That this entire creation and maintenance process goes. Finally, she takes the ball into her hands. And then with one hand, she tries to hold the ball, which is Jivas and Prakriti. And with the other hand, she tries to catch Paramatma. That is the state in which Nappinai Pirati is right now. In one hand, she is having Krishna. In other hand, she is having this ball, right? In other words, at the time of total pralaya, what happens? Paramatma tries to rest. At that time, he puts this, jivas in his own body, right? In his own body means in his own grace, he puts them. In his own grace means in her hands, he puts them, right? In his grace means, what does that mean? Why does he put in his grace? What does that mean? Even at that phase, he has to protect the jivas, right? At the time of total pralaya, everything gets destroyed. Prakriti gets completely destroyed, right? But the jivas, he maintains them, he gives life to them, he protects the jiva in such a state. For protection to happen, grace should be there, no? Only if grace is there, then protection can happen, rakshana can happen. So that is how we have to understand that he places the jivas in her shelter, right? So that therefore the jivas are protected at the time of pralaya. Again, at the time of Srishti, that ball is given back to Brahma, right? And he creates. So in this way, there's a play that is going on. Therefore, her role is really very important. Her role is something that exists at the beginning of the play, in the middle of the play, and at the end of the play also, right? Therefore, they are saying you are having this Chetana Achetana Samuha, which is in your hands. That means you are the one who has to do that Rakshana. He has to do the Sankalpa, and you are that Sankalpa Shakti, right? That you are the will that You are the enaction of that will of Paramatma, right? So therefore, you have to save us. You have to protect us. In this way, they are praising her, praying to her. Un Maitunan per pada. Your cousins' names we are singing, they are saying. What is your cousins? Paramatma is always identified with her. We always say Sriman Narayana, we say Madhava, we say Lakshmi Narayana, we say Sita Rama, we say Lakshmi Nrsimha, we say Lakshmi Hayavadana, right? That is how we always identify Paramatma, right? Because without her, he is incomplete. So therefore, they are also trying to address that way. Now they are saying, Chantamarai Kayal Sirar Vadayolippa. Vandu Thiravai Mahalindu. Now they are saying, your hands are like red lotuses. What, while holding the ball in her hand, she is trying to do Sarva Jagat Rakshana, right? Palana is what Vishnu and Lakshmi Devi do, right? They try to do the protection. That is what they do. This is what makes her hands red. That redness indicates compassion, right? Redness always indicates compassion, right? She is very compassionate. Her hands are very compassionate. They are so compassionate that, Paramatma promises to all of us, saying, Sarvadharman parityaja mamekam sharanam vraja hantva sarvapapebhyo mokshayishami ma shucha, he says, that give up everything, surrender to me, I will protect you from all sins, do not fear. Just because he said it, can we be like that? No. When we look at our sins, we are so afraid. Really? Really, will he rule out everything? Really, can he actually protect us? In this way, there is a certain fear in us. Who can actually remove this fear from us? It is Maha Lakshmi who can remove that fear from us. How do we know she removes that fear? When all these Rakshasa Stris tortured Sita Devi significantly, every day they were torturing her. They committed so many offenses towards her. Then one day, Trijata got a dream. In that dream, she realized that Rama came and destroyed Ravana and Sita Devi was protected. As soon as Trijata told this dream to the Rakshasa Stris, they started becoming fearful. Because now Ravana is defeated, they were thinking that Ravana will continue to rule. Once Ravana is defeated, they were all worried what would happen to them. Immediately she said, Bhaveya Sharanam Hi Vaha. Don't worry, I will protect you. I will give you shelter, she said, Sita Devi. To whom? To the people who tortured her in so many ways. Right? She was the one who immediately said, do not fear. Papanam va, shubhanam va, vadharhanam plavangama, karyam karunamaryena, na kaschinna aparadhyati, she says to Hanuman. When Hanuman comes and says, these are the people who tortured you, I am going to, with my claws, I'm going to pounce on them. I'm going to tear them apart. I'm going to punch them. In this way, Hanuman was saying. Then Sita Devi said, Karyam karunamaryena, you are an Arya, you are a civilized person. Please show compassion on them. Na kaschinna aparadhi. Who doesn't commit a sin? She said. Who doesn't commit a sin? Just because someone commits a sin, immediately we punish them. So, papanam va, shubhanam va, vadharhanam plavangama. She said, oh plavangama, oh monkey, whether they may be very sinful, they may be even in a state that they are definitely worth killing, but still, karyam karunamaryena. Just show compassion on them, forgive them. Right? This is Sita Devi's mood. So it is that mood of Sita Devi that prevents Rama from Rama or Narayana to actually look at all our sins, because she immediately says, I am giving them shelter, and he can't do anything. Right? So this is her nature. With her nature, she tries to protect all of us. Right? This is what they are trying to remind. Now they are saying, you should walk and come, because we should hear your sound of walking. You should make sound with your bangles. That is the proof that you are making an attempt to protect us. In this way, they are saying, do it happily. You do it for your happiness. That, what is the happiness of a mother? That the child is coming back to the father. This is the happiness of a mother. So do it for your happiness, not for our happiness, that we will be happy. You know that you will be happy when we are back with the Lord. Right? So do it for your happiness. Now, what is that hand that they are referring to? What is this hand? Hand is the jnana which removes the obstacles to attaining him. Right? And this hand has certain bangles. What are these bangles? What is the nature of bangles? Bangles are what provide an identity for a married woman. Right? They indicate her connection with the husband. Right? So there are certain bangles that one should have. What are they? Ananyarha Seshatvam, Ananya Sharanyatvam, Ananya Bhogyatvam. Because these are the bangles that indicate our connection to Paramatma. that we don't belong to anybody else. We are not meant for anybody else's enjoyment. And we should not take shelter of anybody else but him, right? They all indicate our connection with Paramatma. So these are the bangles that she has. In other words, that jingling of the bangles is indicating that that is what she is going to make us. She is the one who has to bring us to that state, right? That is the nature of Shri, right? And the hand is compared to a red lotus. What is that lotus? Lotus has three features. What are the features? It has beauty, Saundaryam. It has tenderness, Saukumaryam. And it has fragrance, Saugandhyam. These are the three features of a lotus, right? What is beauty or Saundaryam? The nature of beauty is that when do we say something is very beautiful? Beauty is something that makes us forget everything else around and we focus only on that object. That's called beauty, right? Similarly, when Paramatma is present, Paramatma makes us forget everything else. Itara Vishaya Nivritti, right? Completely retracting our mind from everything else and being able to focus only on him, right? This is the quality that Maha Lakshmi blesses us with, right? So that is what is being indicated by that red color in her hands, right? When her grace falls on her, that means this nature she gives us, she awards us this nature of being able to completely focus on Paramatma and nothing else, right? Then Saukumaryam, tenderness. What is tenderness? The inability to take care of even one's own self is called tenderness. That means Swa Bhoktrutva Nivritti. When we try to enjoy the Lord, we have to give up the feeling that this enjoyment is for our sake. This is what is being indicated by tenderness or Saukumaryam. Then fragrance or Saugandhyam. What is the nature of fragrance? Fragrance, when someone, sprays a perfume and they come into the room, that fragrance spreads all over. The fragrance is a thing that indicates that the person is present everywhere, right? Wherever that person is, around a certain radius of that person, there is fragrance spread. Similarly, fragrance is nothing but that intense love of God that is pervading all aspects of the kainkaryams that the bhakta is doing. Sarvadesha, Sarvakala, Sarvavastheshu. In all states, in every place, at all times, in all the kainkaryams that the devotee is doing, intense love for God manifests. It shows up. That intense love is what that fragrance is, right? Showing up. That means we can clearly see that in such a devotee, there is so much love for God that manifests in every aspect of his behavior, right? That is the fragrance that she fills the jivas with, right? That is what she has the ability to do with her red lotus, right? And now they are saying, with your jingling bangles, you please open the door, right? There is an interesting story that most of us already know, but we will try to recollect the story one more time. Ramanujacharya, Thiruppavai, what is Thiruppavai? It is the essence of all Vedas, right? Ramanujacharya was so much a fan of Thiruppavai that every day he used to recite Thiruppavai. Lot of devotion. Therefore, he was called Thiruppavai Jiyar. Constantly, he was someone who used to meditate on the meanings of Thiruppavai. Once upon a time, he was just going for bhiksha from one home to another. And then at that point, he was reciting Thiruppavai, right? And then he happened to recite this particular Pasuram, undu madakaliRRan odada tholvaliyan. And here is where there is a meditation that, Nappinai Pirati has to come from inside, and with her jingling bangles, she has to open the door. At that point, Ramanujacharya, he happened to arrive at the house of one of his gurus, Mahapurna, and then his daughter, Attullai, she has to open the door. And she opened the door with jingling bangles. Immediately, as if he was taken over, he almost fainted out of ecstasy, thinking that Neela Devi herself graced him. And she herself opened the door. As he was just singing that Pasuram, right? This beautiful incident happened. So this is, and all our elders, they believe that these Pasurams, right, they have such power that if we recite really with that kind of bhakti, with these Pasurams, these are not ordinary Pasurams. They are given by, Lakshmi herself, right, in the form of Bhudevi, in the form of, Andal, right? So these Pasurams have such power that when we recite these Pasurams, these 30 Pasurams with a lot of devotion, right, fully meditating on their meanings, they have the power to, take us back to Paramatma. They have the power to destroy all our papams. They have the power to give us all kinds of desirables. All kinds of abhishtams will be fulfilled. This is the power of these Pasurams, right? Her grace will fall on us and she will open the doors for us and she will take us back to Paramatma. That this is the power of these Pasurams. These Pasurams have the power to make him forgive all our sins. And these Pasurams have the power to have his grace fall on us. So this is the power of this particular Pasuram, undu madakaliRRan, odada tholvali. Right? Just quickly trying to summarize this Pasuram, its inner meaning. They are trying to say that they are trying to meditate on the nature of Nandagopan first as someone very powerful, right? Through that, what they are trying to indicate is that the Acharya has the power to remove the obstacles of the Shishya on his path to Paramatma. As he tries to lead the Shishya towards Paramatma, Acharya can remove all the obstacles. So many obstacles Kamsa keeps sending, right? To, to destroy the bhakti that is arising in our heart, right? Just like Kamsa sent so many demons to kill Krishna, to destroy the bhakti arising in our heart, this mind keeps sending so many things like kama, krodha, and all these things. All those things, an Acharya has the ability to subdue them. That is the power of the Acharya that they are meditating upon. Second thing, the elephant is none other than Krishna himself. And we have seen so many similarities between Krishna and elephant. We'll see if any, child can summarize some of them today towards the end of the class, right? So many children are listening to this class. We'll see if somebody can do it today. And then Nandagopalan Maramagale Nappinnai. Now they are saying that they are trying to indicate few things, that it is a sattvic time right now. Sattvic time is when both the acharyas who are grahasthas, through their anushtanams, they try to show how to realize Paramatma, and then the alvars, with songs coming out of pure ecstasy that they are experiencing, they try to shower messages about Paramatma, right? These are the messages that are indicating that it is time for awakening right now. It is time for spiritual awakening right now, right? So that is what they are trying to indicate. Then they are trying to talk about her as someone who is capable of, with her beauty, with her, relationship with Paramatma, she has the special role, special ability to make him forgive all our sins and accept us back to him, right? That is the nature that they are meditating of her, right? And then they are saying that's why we are singing about him in relation to you, right? That's why we don't try to, step over you and make you step aside and then try to approach him directly. We always try to approach through Tayar, right? This is the nature of how one should perform devotion. And then she, with her hands, which are filled with compassion, she is the one who showers and decorates us with beautiful qualities and presents us back to Paramatma, right? She is the one who has to break open the doors. The doors are our own karma, and then Paramatma's inability to break us free from this karma because of being bound by Shastra that he himself developed. So only Paramatma's grace has to fall on us, which is she personified. She is his grace personified. So that has to fall on us, and that can only help us break free from this karma and attain Paramatma, right? This is the meaning of this beautiful Pasuram. With this, we will close today. Andal, Tiruvadagale Sharanam, Emperumana, Tiruvadagale Sharanam, Periyaji, Tiruvadagale Sharanam, Jai Sriman Narayan. Yes, anybody wants to share anything?
Jai Sriman Narayan Swami, very wonderful session. Like when you are describing the compassion and grace of Lakshmi Devi, I was also reflecting on that Saranagati we learn in, like you were also mentioning, the Prajna module 2. The Saranagati which is taught to kids only has the Tayar part to it. Like, we don't teach kids Narayana part yet. So when I was reading it, I didn't understand, like, why our Chinnajiyar Swamiji gave like only like about the Tayar's Saranagati portion. But now I was reflecting on it, Swami. Very wonderful. One question I have is, in those 2 doors you mentioned in this Pasuram, one of the door you mentioned, I think, is the inability of Paramatma to remove sins, is it, Swami? That's the door they are requesting Nappinnai to open, is it?
Yes.
What is the other door, Swami? I missed the other door.
One door is our karma. The other door is we are bound by karma. That is one door. He is bound by Shastra. That is the other door. So it is that Shastra that says that if a person does this good activity, you award him with this good result. If a person does this bad activity, you award that person with bad result. This is the constitution that is written. So his nature is that because he set up that framework, he has to be bound by it. Right?
Correct.
So those are the two doors. One is our karma, the other one is the Shastra. Right? So these are the two things that we cannot break free from. Right? Jiva cannot break free from, Paramatma cannot break free from. So the only way to open these doors is his grace has to fall on us. His grace is Lakshmi personified. His grace personified is Maha Lakshmi. So when she intercedes, that's when these things are broken open. Yes, Napinaji, you wanted to share something?
No, so please continue. I was raising my hand for the next question. Please continue, sir.
Okay. Sure.
This
So,
is clear, Swami. I am good.
thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Swami. Dasam Swami.
Thank you.
Jai Shri Narayana Swami. I have three things I want to ask you. The first two are not questions, but I heard from other Upanyasam Swamis that Tayar actually tricks Perumal. Actually, she tests Perumal the grit that he has to save that Perumal has
Mhm.
to save his devotees. Like in the case of Vibhishana, Tayar herself says, it seems, why are you saving this Vibhishana? So he actually told that because Sita's foot was placed on Sri Lanka, Sri Lanka is doomed. So he actually so Vibhishana did say those words to Ravana in order to release Sita Devi from his clutches. So she mentions that at the right time when Perumal was going to, was speaking high of Vibhishana. She says, why are you praising Vibhishana? Why are you forgiving him? He did say something bad about me. So these all she says. Sometimes she plays these tricks with Perumal to see how confident he is and to what extent he can go to save his devotees. At that time, he says, it seems, no, he is my devotee. He can never commit any mistake. He told that in order to save you from his clutches, otherwise he wouldn't have said those words. So if not for Tayar, Perumal can go anyways, like any extremes. So she keeps testing him. She keeps advising him and uh, put giving senses to him all the
Yes,
time.
absolutely.
The other one also, Swami, is that's a question, Swami. If we say Perumal is bound by dharma,
Mhm.
will that not cause what do you call? Pirma has no. He is like a white crystal. He does not have malam or no impurities or no dosham. Will that not cause a dosham on Perumal that he is bound by something that he has to follow, Swami?
No. So that I think that's a very good point that you raised, right? So although he is like that, right, he cannot act in an erratic way, right? If he acts in a completely erratic way, then there will be no structure to anything. This whole world will be put to ruin because everything will start appearing very random. So therefore, a certain structure has to be maintained, and he himself makes himself bound. He says that, in several places in Bhagavad Gita, he says that um, uh, there is nothing that is binding for me in all the three worlds, right? Uh, but I still bind myself to them just to protect the world. He says in the third chapter of Bhagavad Gita that Trishu Lokeshu Kinchana Nan Avaptam Avaptavyam Varta Evacha Karmani. He says that, uh, and the reason he tries to bind is to protect the world. Because, just like I said, if everything is erratic, then people will completely not know when what outcome is to be expected. So it appears that again, although we are saying that he is binding himself to this, when we say Mahalakshmi intercedes and breaks it, what is Mahalakshmi? Mahalakshmi is his Sankalpa Shakti to protect. It is his compassion. His personification of his compassion is who Mahalakshmi is. right? So that means when his grace falls on someone for some reason, then there is nothing that is holding him from taking that jiva back. This is what I said that, the other day, the example I gave of the washing machine, right? It's like all the jivas are like clothes that are thrown into that washing machine, right? So there is a certain cycle that runs and it has to run. But for some reason, if we suddenly decide that, hey, this certain white shirt or something is something I want to wear for this party, for the cycle to run, it will take 2.5 hours. So somewhere at 37 minutes or something, I suddenly open the door and I pull that white shirt out and I close that cycle again. Everything else keeps running. Now, this particular shirt, I'll hand wash it and I'll hand dry it so that it's ready for me in 15 minutes. So my focus has fallen on this particular shirt right now. So I have the freedom to break this thing out. Right. So just like even, if you go to an exhibition, right, a Ferris wheel or something, there is a certain number of cycles it has to rotate before the thing has to come out. But suddenly if someone from top or something shouts saying that, their head is reeling or something and they want the person to stop, then, the person stops it. In this way,
Okay.
a certain rule has to be there for the world to run according to certain rules. But again, he has the freedom to break it at any point that he wants to break it. But he doesn't make it appear as if it's erratic. Although
Yes.
it's his will that the jiva should get delivered. For some reason that his vision falls on that jiva, that he feels that now it's time for this jiva to come back to me. From that point on, there is a complete change in the journey of that jiva.
Got it, Swami. Again, Swami. The third one I remembered was in another Upanyasam itself, Swami. I heard that it was a Sundarakanda Upanyasam where Tayar Sita Devi have been addressing Hanuman as he is the king of the monkeys, and she was giving all the respects to Hanuman. But when he said that, the moment he said he would kill those demons who are torturing her, yeah, it seems she addressed him as Lavangama, like
Lavanga.
yeah, so like the monkey.
Yeah.
So she was so infuriated that he was thinking of punishing them, and she is so kripa matram that she's full of kripa that she cannot tolerate the although he didn't commit it, she couldn't even tolerate the thought of torturing those demons by Hanuman. So she got angry and addressed him as a monkey instead of calling him something else like she used to address him before. So
Right. That you should behave like an Arya, but you are behaving like a monkey.
yeah, yes, one.
Both in the same sloka. Yes.
Yes, one.
Thank you for sharing.
Adiyan Dasaham Adiyan. Thank you so much, Adiyan. Thank you.
Thank you. Any kids want to share comparison between Krishna and elephant? Any kids here?
Oh, I will.
Oh, Srinidhi, go ahead.
Okay, so one comparison is when elephants get down to let people get on it, Paramatma will bend down so that people can reach him.
He will also give access to his feet.
Oh yeah, okay, Swami. The next comparison is when an elephant bats for a long time and cleans itself really well. Once it comes out, it sprays sand on it and becomes dirty. Also, Krishna, being praised by many Bhagavatas, like great people, he will always become accessible to ordinary people.
Even our prayers, right? We don't pray like the way Bhagavatas do, but even our little prayers, God listens to them, right?
Yes, Swami.
Very nice.
I will remember those two.
Okay, thank you so much. Anybody else wants to share anything else? Any other kid who is listening today? Okay, Harini ji is sharing this, right? Harini ji, please open the mic and share.
No, every time I say something, I'm feeling like I'm intruding in your space.
No. Please never think like that. This is just a group for all Bhagavatas to share,
No, like Thiruppavai is so very close to me. And today's today's Pasuram is like exclusively for Tayar. It's like there is not even one small mention about Krishna. Or so she refers Nappinai Tayar. Actually, one fun fact about me is when I was a kid, like Srinidhi's age or Mithila's age, I wanted to have two girls, and I wanted to name one girl Nappinai and the other girl Nandaki. But I mean, it didn't happen. But anyway, so Nappinai, that name Nappinai is so close to my heart from when I was young. And this is the one pasuram where Andal sings just for Nappinai Tayar. She doesn't even mention about Krishna. She doesn't even mention about Nanda Gopa, because everything is like inferred meaning. Undu madakaliRRan odada tholvaliyan Nanda Gopalan Marmagali. She never mentions his Krishna's wife. And this one other perspective is the first four lines are for Nappinai to come open the door, and the next four lines are like how you referred the Pandar Virali on Maithanar Perpada, you referred Pandar Virali as Nappinai's viral, right? And Sendamare Kayal Sirar Valayolipas Nappinai's Valai, right? But the one other perspective which I have heard from other Upanyasams also is like Gandam Kamanam Kurali Kadairavai, Bandingum. So till there it's Nappinais. And the rest of the Pasuram are external, like external to Nappinai. Pandar Virali un Maithunan Perpada. Vandengam Kori Aitanakan is sign showing that sunrise has happened. Because like Kori is like it's hen, it's not actually cock. So in Tamil, Seval is cock, Kori is hen, right? Even to mention that, the normally like cock is the one, which, shouts like cock-a-doodle-doo is like cock only is one. But Andal wants to give preference to Tayar so much that she says hen there, not even like cock. So Kori Aretanakan. So that's how, even when discriminating between animals, she wants to project the female version of chicken. So Kori Aretanakan, that's like external. One Madhavi Pandal Mel Palkal Kuidinangal Kuvinakan. This again is, I am going to refer Nachiyar Tirumuri, in which like she's sending Kuil as a messenger to Krishna, and the queen that she sends is again is a female queen, not a male quail, because she says that only female quail can understand my feelings. Yeah. So this also, she is projecting like female quail. Pandar Varali un Maithanan Perpada, Sendamare Kayal Sirar Valayolippa. This is both Nappinai's Valai and also like our Valai. Because like the days when our husbands cannot do Tiruvaradnam for Perumal, we do prayers for Perumal, right? Puja for Perumal, right? So first, before we open the door, we say like Nayagaran Endra Pasuram, and then we say undu madakaliRRan, and then we clap 3 times, and then we open the door, right? Now, please don't think me as a boomer uncle or boomer auntie, because the entire Thiruppavai, Andal is sprinkling Dharma Shastram everywhere. Like second Pasuram, Natkale Niradi. As per Shastram, we have to take a shower in the morning. And then Sengar Podikurai Venpal Tavattavar. Dharma Shastram lists the requirement of an Acharya. So he should not, his teeth is white. It's actually mentioned. So like that, she is also sprinkling Dharma Shastram here. Women, when men are not available, when we do puja, when we clap our hands and open the door, we have to wear at least 2 bangles. If we wear just 1 bangle in each hand, the bangle will not sound. So we have to, it's a mandatory, like, so we have to wear at least 2 bangles, and the bangle sound that we make is a symbol, because like we don't just barge into a room when a husband and wife are inside, right? So you should see me like, shaking my hands before I open the Perumal door in our house. So it's like a request to all the ladies, like always wear 2 bangles in your hand. And before you open Perumal door, make sure that bangle sounds. And then you clap your hands and open the door. This is also mentioned in Dharma Shastra. So like throughout Thiruppavai, she is sprinkling this Dharma Shastram like all over the Thiruppavai, which is also like has become a lifestyle for us. But when I grew up, my mother did not tell me the reason why we have to wear bangles, but she always made sure that I wear a bangle, I wear a necklace, I wear a thodu. All these are coming in Kodare in that Pasuram too. So these are all the little things that Andal has taught us as a woman, like us as a girl, like how we have to present ourselves when we see or when Krishna sees us first thing in the morning. I mean, those are the little thoughts that like came to my mind when hearing. And the Purushakara Bodhi that we discussed yesterday, like she is like, especially for Jivatma like me, if Tayar is not there, I don't know how my life will be. So like she really like she steers us well. She steers Krishna and makes him forgive and forget all our sins. So this is so close to our heart because like it all talks about Tayar and her role.
Thank you so much for sharing, Hariniji, and thank you for all of you. Actually, every day you are sharing so many gems. Like sometimes replaying this message in a different way. All of this realizations that we all feel very blessed to be part with all of you, because this has happened by Taya's grace only.
Yeah. Sorry, again, one more thing. Like you mentioned about elephant, right? Like Krishna, it's an elephant. Like that's what like Nammalvar, he got the name Parangushanagi. The pastorams he wrote as his lover's bhavam. Parangushanagi, he got his name because Krishna is considered an elephant. So that analogy was like really nice. Sorry, yeah, go ahead, please. Yeah, go ahead.
No, of course. Thank you. I mean, you were going to share that, but you shared so many
I
things.
got diverted. When Napinai came to Minneapolis, or Napinai Nangai, when she came to Minneapolis, when everyone was trying to pronounce her name, I got so happy. I know someone with the name Napinai. I didn't have any trouble in pronouncing her name or understanding her name.
Very nice.
Yeah.
And thank you all for making this happen. Every day you're all joining, despite me being someone very incapable of sharing anything and incapable of even saying.
Oh,
You're all
no, please don't say it. Please don't say it. Like we are learning a lot. I'm also talking for others, but yeah, we are learning a lot, different perspectives, and the quotes that you give from, other places like Bhagavad Gita and how it is being taught is considered. It's like, it's all very nice. We are learning a lot from you every day.
Swami, it is a time very well spent, Swami.
Yeah.
So please don't apologize or don't have to feel bad or anything like that, Swami. So it's time very well spent, and we learned a lot. We are learning a lot from each other here, Swami.
It's all your good heart and.
It's so happy to hear this during Margari because this is the very apt time to learn also. So
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you for your time, Swami. Adiye. Jai Shri Manarayana.
Jai Shri
I'm taking leave with your permission, Swami.
Jai Shri